Hello guys, welcome to another video. The Lament of an Immortal, Worlds Collide by IAWWMS. Chapter 15, A Moment of Hesitation, The Last Chance. In a place far from the limits of mortals, in the precincts of celestial beings living together in concord, a shadow slipped into the precincts of the Supreme Being of creation. A striking aura made its presence felt as a faint crimson mist hovered in front of the Supreme Deity. Time has passed, Shin, spoke a being from the crimson mist to the God of creation. Eons, I must say, replied the Supreme Being seriously as he sipped some of his tea. I see that your child has not awakened his latent being. Do you think he has a chance? Answered the red-haired fellow who emerged from the mist, then took a seat next to the old man. No, not yet. This battle is his final taste, affirmed God while he poured a cup of tea to his companion as they both watched the battle of the two titans on the TV in front of them. It won't be easy for him to face Rimuru. The boy will have a hard time, affirmed the red-haired man. And Star King's heir hasn't fully awakened either, God pointed out. Even so, Rimuru's abilities are on par with a God catastrophe. Your grandson has it tough, stated the red-haired man seriously. That may be true, but strength is not everything, dear guy. The fervor of battle was steadily increasing, and among the ranks of Tempest their general was engaged in a fight against an elven knight who was strangely keeping pace with him. The clash of their blades was evident as the golden flashes of small sparks were seen all around, as little by little these beings manifested their Rimuru-like abilities. How is it possible that you could have the same abilities that our Lord bestowed upon me? Bemimaru questioned incredulously. That I don't know, but if I possess an ability to be able to stop them I will use it. It is the duty of a knight to protect his people, the elven girl pointed out somewhat agitated, while stopping an attack of Benimaru's sword. Later, realizing that her sword was about to be destroyed, she covered her leg with a black flame and kicked one of Benimaru's sides, which made him retreat momentarily. Those skills don't belong to you, Benimaru pointed out, but immediately barely parried a direct flare attack. To the rest they may have thought Benimaru was leaving her, however, inside him was the doubt that Mile had questioned him. What answer is worth more than the lives of thousands of people? They just blindly follow orders without a moment's thought for her. They don't question whether it's right or wrong. They just do it to follow the orders of such a dastardly master who ordered the invasion of several worlds. For a second Benimaru had disconnected himself from the battle, but that backfired on him, as Zelina had obtained a crystal Odachi sword provided by Mile, and lashed out at him. That weapon, he pointed out somewhat surprised as it had been a long time since he had seen someone carry a sword equal to that of his fallen companion. This is the weapon with which I have more experience. You are finished. Demon, pointed Zelina as she continued to launch attacks without ceasing against Benimaru. The din could be heard everywhere. Explosions manifested after the clash of magical attacks from both sides. The Legion of Babylon's steel constantly repelled the attacks of the goblins and orcs. Both sides were on par with their rivals as fear could be felt within the last standing city of this world. The collision of dragon attacks echoed in the sky and on the ground. Hundreds of lesser spirits used their powers to prevent the impacts of the colossi from severely affecting the citadel's foundations. These attacks are devastating, pointed out one earth spirit to another using his power to dampen a mild aftershock of an earthquake. I know, but we have to contain them, or all will be lost, pointed out the air spirit creating a wind barrier that covered the civilians from the protruding debris. At the same time, in front of the base of operations set up by the Babylon terminals, a presence was present. A glow of light blinded part of those present. The lost sister arrived with her sisters. The raid has begun, Monica pointed out to her sister. Is Master Tuya here? Where is Mistress Azusa? Seska questioned. Mistress Azusa has been defeated by the Demon Lord. Just now the Master has just arrived, affirmed Flora, while the remaining terminals approached with Seska and her guest. At last we can meet you, Miss Ree, pointed out Rosetta with a smile. Where are we? Questioned Ree somewhat confused. In the war zone, the battle for the tranquility of existence is in this inhospitable world. Well, it wasn't before, it's the aftermath of the Tempest War, Fam stated. How can I help? Questioned something serious Ree, who was watching how her companions were fighting against spirits and machines. Miss Ree, we know that your talent for technomagic is unsurpassed, but your role in this war will be revealed when this fight is over, affirmed Fam giving her a smile. What do you mean? I came to help in the battle, Ree affirmed. Your greatest strength is your intellect, cunning, as well as your ideals. That is something we will need at the end of the battle. Your companions and allies follow the orders of your master. But you by being here are following the orders of your heart, pointed out Tika as a faint light enveloped all the Babylon sisters and Ri to be transported to the floating Babylon fortress. Where are we? Questioned Ri in awe, as Sika approached a monitor that was broadcasting the battle in real time. For the moment we are in a safe place, as we have something to discuss, pointed out Pham as the other 8 girls followed her and stood in front of Ri. A blue flare was launched with great precision at her opponent, but was deflected with the opponent's bare hand. Get away from her, Rimuru shouted, launching her attack, but Tuya used his absorption magic to stop the attack, and be able to lay an unconscious Azusa on the ground. You're an unhappy. Why did you have to do that? Tuya questioned in annoyance, as he created a gate portal behind Rimuru. Get away from her, Rimuru pointed out as she quickly recovered from the attack Azusa had thrown at her before falling unconscious. And at that instant, Tuya threw a punch towards Rimuru, but he was able to block her attack easily with his left arm, and with a snap from Rimuru's side Tuya's portal closed. You turned her against me. I don't know how you did it, but you'll pay for it, Rimuru pointed out as he threw a punch at Tuya's face, which caused him to be projected away from him in a second. However, Tuya was able to react quickly by using Excel and connecting a punch to Rimuru's stomach, which caused him to back up momentarily. Then, Tuya used Excel again to start exchanging blows with Rimuru. Soon, all the moves started to intensify in strength and speed. The echo generated from the clash of punches echoed in the battle to the degree that it disturbed the others' battles. Don't blame me for that, Tempest. You drove her to it. You used Azusa's pain as a banner for your crusade against different worlds. Thousands of innocents perished because of your incursions. How do you think she felt about it? You used the memory of her precious daughters as a banner of death on several worlds, Tuya replied as they continued to exchange blows. Shut up, Rimuru shouted furiously, as he created a barrier that locked both of them in the same place. He subsequently created an incessant light. In a matter of seconds Rimuru had created a nuclear explosion. You'll wish you hadn't gotten in my way, he pointed out, as he released that energy. Quickly, Tuya was able to realize Rimuru's intention and absorb the blast barely. I know what you lost, I really understand, but you must stop, Tuya expressed somewhat agitated after absorbing the explosion. You think I'm interested in the words of a whimsical guy? Rimuru expressed while channeling his dark flame in his hand. You think you're the only one who has lost someone? Tuya questioned angrily, but with a slight tone of nostalgia as he channeled light magic into his hand. Well, he was beginning to remember the death of his wives at his hands. At that moment both contenders launched their blows. The anger materialized in a dark flare of Rimuru against the nostalgia manifested in Tuya's light magic clashed in a shocking way. What do you say? What do you know? Do you know what it feels like to have unlimited power and not be able to save anyone? Do you know what it feels like to have the powers that surpass conventional knowledge and not be able to help the people you love? Rimuru questioned, annoyed as he remembered the frustration he experienced when he tried to revive his daughters and Xian again. I know perfectly well the pain it feels to have so much power in your hands and not being able to save the people you love the most. Frustration, hate, anger, disappointment. None of those words could define even 1,000th part of how I felt at that moment, pointed out Tuya, annoyed as he remembered the times he used his powers to absorb the lives of his wives. I know I'm not the only one, but at least I'm the one who is willing to do anything to remedy it, pointed out Rimuru, pulling out another storm sword and the sword of phrase he had taken from Moroha and lashed out at Tuya, who barely managed to pull Brunhild out to repel the attack. You can't. Nature has to take its course. Mortal lives come and go. Wanting to avoid death is taboo among the gods, pointed out Tuya as they frantically exchanged blows with their swords. Maybe among the gods, but I am a demon king. I do not abide by their rules, stated Rimuru, releasing some of his demonic aura. The lives of a few do not compare to the lives of thousands that your followers have taken. If you continue down that path, Tuya was saying, but was interrupted by Rimuru. I wouldn't mind being hated by all existence. If it can save my people and my precious daughters, so be it, said Rimuru as he created a portal behind Tuya. To then use his maximum speed and kick it. Ah! Tuya exclaimed as he received Rimuru's attack suddenly, causing him to fall into the portal. And just as Tuya entered the portal closed. You will be trapped between the edge between dimensions. You won't be able to get out of that place, you will be stranded eternally between the dimensional boundaries. Rimuru pointed out, but at that moment Tuya reappeared again. Stop, Tempest. Tuya pointed out as he reappeared. You're a tough nut to crack, Tuya, stated Rimuru. Do you know who I am? Tuya pointed out, somewhat astonished. Yes, I know who you are. And when this is over, the next raid will be on your old world, and the Duchy of Brunhild will be the first to fall, Rimuru pointed out in annoyance. Don't you dare, Tempest, Tuya pointed out, leaping angrily towards Rimuru. For knowing how dangerous Rimuru was, he was aware of the danger he meant to the world he considered his home for so long. But to his misfortune, Rimuru parried his attack with the palm of his hand. You turned Azusa against me, Rimuru said. Then they both fiercely punched each other in the face, which caused the force of the impact to create a shockwave that reverberated throughout the land. And so your world will come to an end. I will kill you. I will kill you, Tuya pointed out, furious when he heard that his precious world was being threatened. The world that bequeathed his offspring was being threatened by the most powerful demon lord of all, which made him lose his concentration. That's when Rimuru seized the opportunity and created hundreds of portals in different worlds. He used his ability and created a clone of himself, then pushed Tuya into the first portal. The first portal led them to a huge castle, while the two Rimurus hit Tuya, projecting him to the outskirts of the building. Protect Her Majesty. Don't let them lay a finger on the heiress of Melromark, shouted a knight with a peculiar shield. After that they both projected Tuya towards another portal, coming to a battle between two groups of soldiers. For the glory of the Joral Kingdom, shouted an orange-haired woman while holding a sword in her hand. At that moment both Rimurus struck Tuya, generating an explosion in the process that reduced the group of thousands of soldiers to ashes. A badly wounded Tuya got up when he saw what had happened, but he was thrown to another portal. Through more than 100 worlds they went through, causing disaster until they returned to the world where the main conflict was. Already with a somewhat exhausted Tuya on the ground and began to emanate a silver divine aura. Gradually his eyes began to turn a deep gold. At that moment the Rimuru clone created a sword blade with his hand and pierced Tuya in the back. For a moment Tuya expressed an annoyed pain, but in that instant he expelled his divinity, which made it create a flash that hit the Rimuru clone, and in a second the wound that had been generated closed. Well, because of the appreciation I have for Azusa and the request of the silver-haired girl, I had planned to continue trying to resolve this peacefully. But what you did showed me that for the sake of thousands of worlds you must perish. Tempest. Your death will be the saving of uncountable lives, expressed Tuya as his hair began to take on a golden hue as it grew considerably. I guess I'll have to stop holding back, said Rimuru with a chuckle.